Sonic, the heart of your system.
Hello, Briony here from Kit Guru, and I'm here in Stoke-on-Trent at Overclockers UK. In this video I'm going to be taking a behind the scenes look at their workshop, so let's go on inside and get out of the cold. Overclockers UK are soon going to be celebrating their 20th anniversary birthday, so that's obviously quite a long time to be selling PC hardware components and building the custom PC systems, and that's what I'm here today to take a look at. I'm going to be focusing on taking a look at all the kind of different systems they do. They kind of build everything from your budget gaming PC system all the way up to the crazy 8-pack systems that you see at various events and things around the globe. We have taken a look at those on Kit Guru before, but I am here for a kind of exclusive behind the scenes look inside the actual workshop space itself. I'm also going to be talking to one of the guys that works here, so let's head to the back of the shop, right through into the workshop, and get talking to Chris to see how they do things here at Overclockers UK. I'm now in the Overclockers UK workshop with Chris. Chris is kind of the manager, he's the overseer of everything that happens here in the PC Overclockers building workshop. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about your job role, Chris, and
Sure.
what you kind of do here?
No problem. So yeah, essentially I see everything from day to day. So whether that be, some new product development, whether it's our just, generic system building that's happening throughout that day, or whether it's down to our end user customer support, or even our business customer support and things like that.
So you're obviously not the only person that works here in the workshop. How many people have you got working for you, and what kind of job roles do they undertake on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, so we've got about 25 staff that work for us currently in our technical department, and that basically revolves on a rota. So, from one week to the next, someone might be building, they might be testing, they might be doing the repairs, or they could be actually just providing customer support. So generally speaking, you could end up speaking to someone on support who built your machine like a few weeks ago if you've got a problem with it or anything like that, or just a query.
Oh, that's great. So if you ring up, you could be talking to the same person that actually built the system that you kind of chosen things.
Yep.
So you say you've got 25 people working for you here. What kind of skills do they have, and what are you looking for when it comes to kind of hiring the people that are going to be building the systems that go out to the customers? Okay,
so yeah, it varies massively. Skill levels vary depending on how long they've been in the business with us generally. From a perspective of someone that would be maybe applying for a role with us in Overclockers at the technical team, generally speaking, we just like people that are enthusiastic, that they've got a passion for gaming, they've got a passion for computers. Prior experience in the industry isn't always necessarily a benefit, because we generally do things differently to what other people do in the industry, and therefore the way that we train people can also is different. So generally speaking, we want to make sure that we can kind of mold those people into an Overclockers employee and do that way.
So the way that you design and build the PC systems is a little bit different maybe than what someone might do at home.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% the case, because generally speaking, we have there can be any sort of like 2 million sort of different variations of a system that someone could potentially build through our website. So, the many different permutations, there's so many different coolers and all those different things. It takes quite a long time to sort of build up that knowledge and, not have to read the manual. I know we all hate doing that, but you know what I mean? A Corsair cooler mount's different to a Cooler Master cooler and everything like that. So it takes such a long time to populate that information. And obviously as a team, we will work together and generally help each other out as far as those things are concerned. And there isn't any real training that you can do for that at home, save sort of buying every cooler on the market and then applying it to your own motherboard, but it's a little bit of an expensive thing to do. Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a lot going on in the workshop here. You've got quite a few different people working for you with a variation of skill sets. How do you put those kind of skills to the test when it comes to designing and building a PC? Do you kind of test the compatibility of components? And
Absolutely. I mean, the way that our ranges work is, obviously we've got 8-pack, which is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And then we've obviously got everything that naturally has a flow underneath that. And essentially with 8-pack and myself and Scott and a couple of other members of the team that we've got here, we basically work together to test on what we generally find works best as far as compatibility and things like that. We'll then overclock it, we'll push it to the limit, maybe sometimes blow some stuff up. And then through the process, we know what works and what doesn't work. And then that essentially then helps us form what our range is going to be, especially when we get a new release and things like that. It really helps us know, who's going to be the leader and who isn't going to be. So
you're testing the new CPUs with the motherboards, because I know we've got the thing with the AMD CPUs coming out, and then like the older motherboards as well. So
yeah, exactly. And it takes a long time of doing these sort of things. I mean, also plays a lot of part into it is, your prior experience of other things that you've tested before. So that kind of obviously gives you a good knowledge base to start off with, and then you can literally, it means that the more you do, the faster you get, and it's constantly just an evolution process for us, really.
So I guess one of the advantages of maybe getting a pre-built is that everything's already been trialed and tested before. That's
exactly the point.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got the peace of mind that you've got the warranty and things like that as well. But
what is your warranty on pre-builts?
So on pre-builts, we've basically got a 3-year collect and return, basically no cost to customer returns process. There's also like an upgrade policy and things within that as well, which we can cover in detail later. But essentially that means that compared to some of our other competitors out there in the market, sometimes they only cover the collect and return for sort of like 2 to 3 months of ownership, whereas we do that for the full 3 years. And it just kind of gives you that peace of mind that there's someone there you've got a squad partner basically that's going to be there and they're going to help you out if you need it.
If something decides to kick the bucket, then you can just pick it up and sort it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Lovely. So you do a very wide range of PCs here, kind of from your kind of budget gaming PC all the way up to, like you said, the huge, powerful 8-pack systems. What kind of customization do you have within that as well? Because you have got the workshop on site and you kind of build all different systems and things, but can you do kind of extra stuff as well? Absolutely.
I mean, we've invested a lot of time and effort in, developing the 8-pack range and the things that we do in there. And we did very much put ourselves in akin to sort of like a car manufacturer. If you buy a Mercedes S-Class, there are things that then teeter down through all the way down to the A-Class, and that's no different for us. So, the things that we have in our pinnacle systems, like the 8-pack systems, there are things that you can ask us to do if you want to, if you're only spending £500, but you want, a full set of like custom braided cables, absolutely no problem. We've got a lot of RGB systems and things like that, which we also integrate into all of our machines. But, generally speaking, light boxes, anything like that, we can do custom laser etching. It's all a possibility.
Is that everything you do on site as well? So if someone places an order on your website, you get to work in the workshop and you've got all the kit here to do it yourselves?
For the most part, yes. Sometimes we'll outsource some things, sort of custom cable braiding. Sometimes we'll do it in-house. Sometimes we'll do it out. We'll basically send that out to Pexon. Main reason for this is just pure amount of time that it takes to do those.
Yeah, cable braiding can be pretty
it's huge.
time intensive.
Just for sort of a ballpark figure, the Orion X2, which obviously has a lot of cables in it because it's 2 systems and things like that, that's approximately 96 hours worth of work just to do the cables.
Wow.
So, that's something that we do obviously have a trade-off, but we have our own laser cutter in-house that we can basically do all the laser etching and things on glass side panels and all that sort of thing. We also have our own spray painting facilities, so we can, if you want a Chameleon changing case, we can do that. It's not something that's going to be listed as standard, but we have all these things that we're available to do, and it's just a question away.
So even if it's something someone doesn't see on the website, you can basically ask you guys to create something, and you get your modding team to work. And
absolutely, We've got a team of guys that basically can handle custom quotations, and we like to say that if you can dream it, we'll build it.
Oh, awesome. So a good example of what you guys can sort of do, and this is, what's the name of this system?
So this is the Infinite Empress Mark III.
An Infinite, so is Infinite kind of your mid to high end range?
So this is literally the stage down from an 8-pack machine. Yeah, you don't want to spend £30,000. We all understand that that's not necessarily the case. So we have the Infinite range that's directly below that. It's not entry level by any stretch of the imagination, but the customizations are sometimes a little bit more dumbed down. But generally speaking, the aesthetic is still pretty fantastic. And again, there's still a lot of customization options that you can still integrate with these.
So if someone wanted kind of like etched glass on it, or they wanted to have some braided cables and things in there?
Absolutely, we've done that a couple of times on these particular machines, yeah.
Any colour coolant? I really like the one that's in there,
colour.
actually. That looks great with the RGB lighting.
Yeah, so that's the Mayhem's Aurora fluid, which was a custom request on this one. But yeah, you know, if you want it bright green, you want it bright yellow, yeah. Sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, what a lovely system.
Thank you.
So a system like this is obviously very, very impressive. What sort of work goes into this? You already mentioned that you spend like 90 hours just on braiding some cables. Yep. How many man hours sort of go into creating something like this? Yeah, so
obviously it varies wildly depending on what you're doing. I mean, this sort of system without custom cables and things like that probably takes about an 8-hour sort of day basically to build that one machine.
A whole day just for this one,
yeah. Exactly. Whereas like you go to sort of like the, you know, the Orion X2, you're talking a week to 2 weeks of just assembly time.
Wow.
You know, we've got to make all the distro plates and things like that in it. So there's obviously the cutting time for on the CNC machine, all these different things that obviously take into account. But pure assembly is almost 2 weeks, and then, you know, about 2 weeks of testing after that. So this is the reason why you know, we have a lead time on there.
Yeah, so the amount of detail and work that goes into something like this, it's something that maybe a lot of people couldn't create at home. But you guys have got
not
this
without some work.
Yeah, you've got to have a lot of spare time to sort of get down and crack to doing something like that. So when you're coming to sort of planning future builds and things, stuff that's coming in the future, particularly the high-end 8-pack systems, how would you go about doing that? Because I imagine there's probably a lot more sort of work involved with that as well, and kind of the modding side of things.
Yeah. Obviously, when we launch a new product, usually around Computex, as everybody does, you only really, you know, we only really sort of show the end result. The actual planning process usually starts, you know, probably in a couple of months' time for our machines that are going to be released sort of, you know, June next year.
So you're sort of planning for CES soon?
Yeah, so it's sort of an 8-month sort of lead time. And we basically start with that, you know, we basically pencil down what hardware and things that we would like to use in there, especially if there's anything new that's going to be coming out that we especially want to highlight. We'll then basically go away and basically get 3D models of those particular parts, CAD 3D models, and we have our own CAD design engineer in-house. And then essentially we will go to work on making that work in a 3D space.
So for anyone at home that maybe doesn't know what CAD is, could you maybe describe it in a few words?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, it's computer-aided design. So it's basically a complete 3D environment. You know, you can build a house in it, or you can literally design a capacitor if you want to. You know, the sky's the limit. So what we essentially do is we in this 3D space, before we actually sort of get any parts or anything like that, so that, you know, we're not devaluing any stock this way, and things like that. We can get it all together.
Check all the measurements and things.
Check the measurements, check the tolerances, make sure things are going to fit together how we think they will. Obviously, doesn't always necessarily work out that they do. You know, especially if you're working on something that, you know, is brand new. You know, cases specifically, you know, it might look like you're going to get a triple radiator in it, but actually you can only get a double, and, you know, there's a bit of wiggle room, lots of things like that. So it just helps us out immensely by basically pre-planning as much as possible before we actually get to the production stage. Which
is something that obviously most people, the home PC builder, they don't have access to anything like that at all.
No, exactly. And, you know, this is all part of, you know, the R&D cost. Obviously people see that, you know, the Orion X2 costs £30,000. Yeah. And they think, oh, that's ridiculously expensive. You know, I could build that for half that price. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, you could. But we've obviously got to cover all these costs that are hidden, that we work on beforehand. You know, there's probably, you know, a good couple of 100 hours just in the planning phase that obviously we've got to account for with the ones that we eventually sell.
Yeah. So out of all of the systems that you've kind of made, everything you've had going through the workshop over the years, what's probably your favourite thing that you've done?
I think the Infinite Hunter is by far my favouriteest machine. I just love the aesthetic of that machine. It's got clean lines. It's got distro plates in it, but not sort of really in-your-face distro plates. They've got nice covers on them, so you only see the channels. You don't see any of the screws, anything like that. It's just quite subdued, but yet it's sort of understated performance, and that's kind of what I like.
So a little more subtle than all the crazy RGB and things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. I think RGB's got its place, but I'm very much I set it to one colour. I'm not a rainbow fan. But you know, setting that up and obviously working on that machine, I've spent a lot of time on the design stage of that with our engineers and things here. So it was kind of, you know, it's kind of quite dear to my heart, that particular machine. So I'm kind of a bit biased, but I do love that machine.
Yeah. So you've talked me through what you do here in the workshop. How would someone get hold of one of these PCs if they want to kind of dream up their own, kind of customize it themselves and things?
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of different ways that they can do that. Of course, we've got our, our pre-builts, which do have, configuration options on there. But then obviously we have our complete configurators, so you can pick anything from case, motherboard, PSU, and that sort of things. And obviously there's exception rules in there, so you can't have anything completely wacky that generally just won't work. So it does have some intelligence to it.
Yeah.
But
is it all components you've kind of pre-tested as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it won't let you select something that we would 100% not recommend.
Yeah.
And then obviously the other option from that is that you can email through to us and you can just literally say, I really like this.
Yeah.
But I'd see you don't offer this. And you can also ask us the question, if we don't offer that particular motherboard that you want in that particular system, we may have a very good reason for that, or it might just be that it's newer and it's not quite been added on yet. So just pop us a question and we can quite happily answer, and provide general, sort of pretty good backup as to why it's not there.
Yeah. So if someone can come up with it, you can basically make it.
Correct.
Or do your best job at making it anyway.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you very much, Chris.
No
Thank
problem
you for
at all.
showing me around the workshop
You're
here
welcome.
at Overclockers UK. That's been Briony and Chris for Kit Guru and Overclockers. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from Kit Guru, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and also remember to press the little bell icon as well, and you'll get a notification every time a new video goes live.